video for the genre presentation. Before I really get into it, remember, if you just want to view the presentation on your own and read through each of those slides to kind of see what each genre is, and kind of write down like, oh yeah, that sounds good, or I think I would like that. So when you do the reader survey, you know what genres to pick. You can do that on your own. You do not have to do this video. If you want me reading it to you, then view the video. All right, so you see that it's getting dark. My motion light sensor just went out, and that's okay, and I've got my phone. But I'm going to share my screen so you'll have a small image of myself here. And as I go through this presentation for you. So this is a reader's foundation. Before you complete the reader survey, I want us to go over a few pieces to help you make the right selections. So we're going to hit nonfiction really quickly because it's the smaller bit of it. You have biography, which is an account of someone's written life by somebody else. So like when y'all do a research paper and you write about somebody's life, you could kind of call that a little bit of a biography if you would. An autobiography is an account of a person's life written by that person. So any biography that was written by the person of writing out their life's work, that's their autobiography. You have memoir and diaries. A memoir allows one to select images, events, and treasures that reveal important things about themselves. Kind of like what we did with my freshman. You got to pick something that you couldn't live without, and you wrote about that particular bit, or you could pick a picture and why it means something to you and stuff of that nature. But a diary is more like written as a record of events, like, you know, today this happened, and then a week later today this happened, or the next day this happened. True crime is an examination of an actual crime. Could be interesting, but I'm sure it's very factual based. Fiction, there's going to be a lot of these, so let's kind of start going through them. Westerns, novels and short stories of the American West, usually in the period from the 1850s to the end of the 19th century. Then you got fantasy. I'm a big fantasy person. Features magical and supernatural elements that do not exist in the real world. So vampires, werewolves, warlocks, demons, any kind of supernatural being, you're dealing with fantasy, witches, stuff like that. Realistic fiction, keyword here, realistic fiction. So it creates an imaginary characters and situations that depict our world and society. It focuses on themes of growing up, confronting personal and social problems. A big book that was huge about 2 or 3 years ago was The Hate U Give. Now that is an actual realistic fiction book that did not happen in real life. It might be based on some true events, but those characters are kind of made up to tell that story of those personal and social problems. And I have that book, by the way. Historical fiction, again, keyword here, historical, takes place in the past, telling a fictional story that may involve actual historical figures or events, but it's still fiction. It's not factually based. Science fiction. This is speculative and typically deals with imaginative and futuristic concepts such as advanced science, technology, space exploration, time travel, parallel universes, and extraterrestrial life, aliens and such. That's science fiction. Mythology is a classic or legendary story that usually focuses on a particular hero or event, and it explains a mystery of nature, existence, or even the universe with no true basis of fact. Anything that is about Thor and as you know, gods and stuff like that, that's all going to be mythology. And it does explain a little bit of our universe, but it's not based in fact. It tries to explain, I should say. Thriller or horror, these kind of overlap each other a little bit. So we've got a thriller, which can have an overlapping subgenre. So it could be a thriller that is historical fiction, or a thriller that is fantasy fiction, something of that nature. They overlap a little bit. Induces strong feelings of excitement, anxiety, tension, suspense, fear, or any other similar emotions. A horror's purpose is to create a feeling of fear, dread, repulsion, or terror by putting life's most frightening and perplexing things, which are like death, evil, supernatural powers or creatures, afterlife, witchcraft, at the center of attention. That would be a horror genre. Mystery. Stories who focus on puzzling crime, situation, or circumstances that need to be solved. Obviously, anything by Sherlock Holmes. If you are a avid reader, a high-end reader, I would highly suggest reading some Sherlock Holmes. His books or his short stories are awesome, and they're short stories. There's a few that are on YouTube where you can just listen to them like audiobooks for free. 45 minutes and you get a full story, and they're really nicely done. But he uses, Sir Conan Doyle, who's the author of Sherlock Holmes, uses really big words. Some of them are a little perplexing to me as well. But even though I don't know a word, the whole story does not escape me, and it's really fun kind of following his mind and his path as he goes through these mysteries. Romance involves a mysterious, adventurous, or spiritual storyline where the focus is on a quest that involves bravery and strong values. However, the more modern definition of romance also includes stories of having a relationship issue at the main focus. Chick lit. This is modern fiction about the lives and romantic problems of young women, and they're usually written by women. So I know chick is not obviously a very nice term nowadays, or I should say it's not a PC, but that's how it kind of got stuck until it gets changed. Classic lit. This is the great masterpieces of Greek and Roman and other ancient civilizations. So that's what classic lit would be. Not many people like those. Some do, though. Humor, also known as comedy, are stories about a series of funny or comical events that are intended to make the reader laugh. They can also be about a particular quirky character. I've got mosquitoes out here. That is funny or amusing. So that book Winger I told you about, if you were in that class that when I talked about the book Winger, Winger, that to me would be a comedy, because I mean it faces some major issues too, and there's some sad stuff in it, but the majority of it you're laughing with this guy what he goes through. I never pronounce this right. Manga. Comics or graphic novels originating from Japan. Although translated to English, they are read from right to left and top to bottom. So they're read backwards from how we read, because they are still written in Japan. Dystopian. I love some dystopian. These are stories that describe an imaginary place where life is extremely bad because of deprivation or oppression or terror. Hunger Games is dystopian. The fact that you're sending kids from ages 12 to 18 to kill each other, for one to be a winner and whatnot, while this other place is, lounging in riches, that's major dystopian. What's the other one? It's got a series in it. I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart here. I can't remember, where they have to choose if they want to be, a fighter, if they want to go into the brain, or they want to be caring or whatnot. I forget the series it's called, but that's also dystopian. I'm so sorry I can't remember that, and this is on the video. Fan fiction. So this is fictional writing written in an amateur capacity as fans, unauthorized by, but based on an existing work of fiction. So for example, there is a story called Duty. I know it's a funny name, but it's called Duty. And this was written by a fan of William Shakespeare. And it follows the exact scene of Romeo and Juliet being killed, committing suicide. So directly after that scene, and the parents kind of coming in and looking at what has happened, all this carnage of what has happened, she tells that story from Lady Capulet's point of view, Juliet's mother's point of view. And she puts a really nice twist on it. I have that short story. It is very nice, but that is fan fiction. She is unauthorized, obviously, by William Shakespeare. She takes his characters and she continues with this story in her own way. That's a fan fiction. Falls under both at times. So we have legends and epics. A legend consists of an astonishing human action perceived or believed to have taken place within human history. An epic is a heroic, or legendary adventure presented in a long format, like the Odyssey. Odysseus going through all his major epic heroic things. Self-improvement or self-help, based on one's own efforts and resources to achieve things and goals without relying on the help of others. Spiritual, about the belief and processes of personal transformation involved with believing in a power greater than oneself over the universe. And then you have religion. These are kind of separate. A religion is a diverse collection of material covering a wide range of religions, from Christianity to Buddhism to Wiccan. These are kind of in their own category altogether. So you have history, takes place in a setting located in the past, just kind of like historical fiction. This is more history. It can be factually based, and again, if it's fiction, it's historical fiction. You have military or war, so this concerns with warfare, typically about naval, air, or land battles with combat scenes central to the drama. Politics, books about different political viewpoints, their effects on society, and the politicians who were involved with the laws, wars, and economics. Psychology deals with the science of understanding individuals' mind functions in an attempt to benefit society. And then you have how-to books, which basically explain with a very detailed description on how to make, use, fix, repair, or accomplish anything. And again, still in their own category, you've got travel. I'm holding my finger up to my daughter who's wanting me to come inside. I'm sorry. You've got travel. So anything outdoor literature, guidebooks, nature writing, and travel memoirs. Food and cooking, about the techniques to prepare or cook food. Cultures, based on the conflict or morality, personal life, and social order of any direct collective culture. You have reviews. So this is an evaluation of one's work or publication. So when you want to go read the movie reviews, or if you go read book reviews, I like to read reviews of products that I want to buy to see, do I want to buy this? Is it working for other people? I did that a lot when I was a new mom. I would read all these reviews before I would buy something. Articles, newspaper, magazine, online blogs, etc. Few more, comic books. So these consist of art in the form of sequential panels, bam, 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 that represent an individual scene. Usually it's about a magazine size. And then you have graphic novels. This is a book made up of comics content. So a comic book is little, graphic novels big. Short stories are fully developed stories, which is shorter than a novel and longer than a fable. A fable is usually like a couple of paragraphs. It doesn't really go past a page. Short stories, you're going to see them range from pages like 4 to 18. Probably longer than 18. Hang on, honey, I'm almost done. Then you've got poetry, obviously literary work in which special intensity is given to the expression of feelings and ideas that use a distinct style of rhyme. You have series. I love a good series. I love and I hate them, honestly. It's a sequence of books having certain characters in common that are formally identified together or as a group. So this could be looked at as a couple different ways. You've got like Harry Potter. That's a series following the same kind of characters all the way through their journey to, destroy Lord Voldemort. And then you've got Hunger Games is also a series. Again, it follows the same characters and almost the same kind of storyline as it go from one major event to the next to the next. Then there are authors who write, they might focus one book on one character, and you kind of hear about the other characters, and in their next book, you're going to get this other character's story. Might not be during that same particular event. It might be in the past or in the future, so on and so forth. A lot of my favorite authors, they do that. They've got many books that follow the same characters, but I get like this one book is going to really focus on this character. The next book's going to focus on this character. And then you have drama, strongly based in a character or characters that are in conflict with a crucial moment in their lives. Most revolve around families and often have a tragic or painful resolution. And I believe that is it. That's the last screen there. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, so that is the presentation of genres. I hope that helped you out. You may now go and take that reader survey, and then you may start building your TBR list, and that'll have a different video.